Good evening. This is the Lion of Legend, and we're going to hop back into The Kid at the Back and see if we can find these other endings. I just got to figure out where I want to go. We'll try loading at my first save point. So, I recall this is last time we went with the crew. So this time, we'll go to the library. Let's just go down the list. No thank you. I think I'll head to the library today. Brittany just gave a low huff. Not saying anything, she turned around with 4 of her friends following her lead, one of them being Crowe. He, however, gave you one last look before heading out with the rest of the group. A sigh of relief escaped your lips as you gathered your thoughts and things. Next stop, the library. The hallway was rowdy and filled with a mix of sweaty and tired young adults, some of their way to their next class, while the rest went to the cafeteria's direction. And of course, there was some who was going to the same direction as you were. The library door is beyond your reach, a smile etched on your face, already missing the smell of books. You opened the doors, and you were hit by the smell of coffee and books. You went to your usual spot in the library, the one by the large window near the cafe section. The fancy thing about your university is that their library is a library cafe. Students can get coffee as early in the morning up until the afternoon. It is a huge hit amongst the students, and you can't seem to blame them. Coffee fuels every college student's soul, especially getting work done. As you made your way towards your usual spot, however, you halted when a person suddenly took a seat on the spot. You groaned. Just great. What should I do about this? Alright, so we're gonna save. Let's just do it down here. We'll take the seat beside the person. At the cost of the comfort of your favorite spot, you don't want to deal with him, nor want to engage in a conversation. Oh, well, guess I'm meeting him anyway. Hello, soul. You walk towards where he is at, him not minding your presence, and took the seat right next to him. He paid you no mind as you placed your things down and took out your laptop, preparing to write down a head start of your report. It was quiet, and your attention was just solely focused on the work before you, while the guy beside you continued on with his own book. The sound of him flipping through was oddly comforting. Time passed by, and the next thing you know, there was only a few students left in the library. The guy beside you closed his book, chucked it in his bag, and left the library. You turned to look up at the library's large clock. A few minutes before your next class. You stopped writing down, turned off your laptop, and placed all of your things in your bag before heading out of the library as you quickly rushed out to make it to your next class. You just barely made it to your next class, your professor already on his desk and was slowly bringing out their tools for the lesson of the day. You looked across the room, paintbrushes by the shelves, the week's featured artwork with a few blank canvases hidden in a shelf. The classroom is slowly being filled in with the professor already by the table. You quickly went to your seat. You suddenly felt as if someone was staring at you, drilling holes through the back of your head. You turned around, but saw no one, everyone just simply minding their own business. You shrugged it off and returned your gaze to your professor. I'll be assigning each one with a partner to work with for the upcoming weeks. You and your partner will be doing 3 different artworks that need to be submitted by the deadline. Hope you all got a partner already by this time. Now, I want you all to go to your designated partners before I start explaining your tasks. Shit. he mumbled under your breath. This is what you get for not attending his class last time. You don't have a partner. You panicked as you looked around, trying to spot some loner or an unfortunate soul like you who wasn't able to attend last time. But from the looks of it, it seems like everyone is already partnered up. Just great. You were forced out of your seat since your seatmate's partner will be occupying it for the class. Unlike the rest of the class scurrying around to meet their partner, there was one who wasn't moving from his seat. You went to see where he was situated at, seeming to be reading a book. You let out a small cough to catch his attention. He closed his book and looked up at you. So, this is interesting. So, last time we saw Soul, it was in the nurse's office and he was bleeding, so maybe the dialogue will be a little different here. It seems like you're a bit lost there. Do you have a partner? No. Well, just your luck then. Me neither. So, do you want to be partners? Sure, why not? You took the vacant seat right beside him. His book now tucked away and on his desk is now a pen and a piece of paper, seemingly ready to take notes. Hey, I never got to know your name. It's not quite important. Well, I should at least know what to call you instead of Green Street Hair Guy. He raised a brow at your silly nickname you gave him before slightly shaking his head. Sullivan Brogmancia. But just call me Soul. Soul. Alright, so we're gonna go with the second option here, because we went with the first option last time. Soul looked away, scratching his cheek. Guess so. Not really the jolly type. Hyugo's more of that. Well, I'm TheLionofLegend. Nice to finally know your name, Soul. Soul nodded with a small smile before returning his attention back to the professor. For this term, I want you and your partner to pass 3 art pieces. First one would be a portrait of your partner, strictly on paper with charcoal as a medium. You groaned. Boomer art teachers. Your professor then proceeds to give the other 2 tasks before leaving you and the rest of the class to do your task for the day. Everyone started talking with their partners, some taking out their needed materials as the other one poses. You turn to Soul as he takes out his own charcoal pencil and his sketchpad for the class. I gotta tell you right now, Soul, I'm pretty great at art. It was the last time we chose the first option. Soul gives a small smile. I'd love to see some of your works then. So, would you like me to draw my portrait first? Sure. Wait, let me get my things. You took out your sketchpad and a charcoal pencil as Soul relaxes on his seat. Would you like me to pose, or... Maybe do a 3/4 angle pose. Alright. Your eyes scanned his face. The more you looked at him, the more you noticed some of his features. His cheekbones, his lips with 2 piercings, his thick eyebrows, the way his hair settles down on his shoulders, and his reddish-orange eyes. He's actually quite handsome. For a moment, you just stared at his eyes. He noticed and stared back, his pupils dilating before he realized he was staring. Heat rises to his cheeks. He quickly averted his head away. Hey, eyes on me. Sorry, I'm not used to being stared at for that long. Relax, it's just me. Plus you'll stare at my boring face after I'm done with your portrait. Your face isn't boring. I actually think you look beautiful. He says without even thinking twice. His eyes met yours, half-lidded, and his pupils were wide. Now it's your turn to turn red. You hid your face behind your sketchpad and whacking him with your charcoal pencil. Stop saying stupid and stay still. Soul just chuckled and stilled his movements, a hand on his chest and a smile on his face. Before you knew it, the bell rang and class was over. You weren't done with your sketch, however. The conversation kept repeating in your mind, and it made it hard for you to concentrate. And like hell, you're going to show it to Soul. Come on, just a peek. It's not done yet. Boo. You chucked the sketchpad in your bag before Soul would grab a hold of it. You got up from your seat and headed out of the classroom, Soul coming close behind with his own bag as he leaves as well with the rest of the class. Do you have a phone? We should exchange numbers and update each other so we can do the next 2 more tasks. Soul then takes out his own phone and asks for your number. You recite it out as he inputted it on his phone. Let me try to send you a message. You nodded and look at your phone screen and see a new notification from an unknown number. This must be Soul's. Sup. You type so differently from how you look. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. You chuckled. He rolled his eyes. You're a good guy, Soul. How about we hang out again tomorrow? By your request, Soul's eyes widen in disbelief. He lets out a breath that he was somehow holding before sighing. Of course. I'll see you tomorrow then. You nodded and walked off, giving him a wave goodbye, him returning with his own small wave. As you walked through the hallway, your eyes caught on something on the nearby bulletin board. A poster was plastered on the large board. The Hallows Ball. Come enjoy the festive spirit of Hallows Eve. A Halloween party, huh? By the time you arrived at your small apartment, it was already past 5 p.m. You stretched out your arms and let out a small groan. You locked your doors and decided to just order takeout for dinner. You went to your living room and plopped down on the couch and took out your phone, scrolling through until a ping notified you of a new message. Anyone want to go to the Halloween party this Friday? It's gonna be awesome. Aren't we all a bit too old for costume parties? Is it required? You two are no fun at all. I won't go if it's not a school requirement, much less a waste of my time. Is it? No, it isn't. But it'll be a great and fun experience for all of us. I mean, we should loosen up a bit, you know? I agree with Crowe. Count me in. Pass. I've got more important things to do than that party. Now, will you excuse me? I'll be doing my leftover task for tonight. Duo's gone offline. Sheesh, a stick in the mud as usual. How about you, Lion? Me? You joining? It'll be fun. You were honestly surprised they somehow remembered you. Checking your calendar through your phone, you didn't seem to have any plans in the near future, or plans at all. You like to just spend your time in your apartment alone. I mean, sure. That's great to hear. Crowe seems happy about it. You giggled. This also reminds you of something. Or rather, someone. Opening another chat, you tapped in Soul's newly added contact and sent him a message by sending the image of the same poster Daryl sent. A Halloween party, hosted by the school? Yeah. I'm not quite into parties. Oh, well, that's alright. Just asking, that's all. Wait. If you're coming, then I'm coming as well. Really? Really. Do you plan on dressing up? I don't know, do you? I mean, it's a costume party, so why not? I'll try to think of something then. You swear you can feel the smile behind those words. With a quick word of goodbye, you set your phone down when you heard your doorbell. That must be the food delivery. Afterwards, you ate your dinner and prepared yourself for bed. You thought of today and the events that occurred. And meeting Soul, of course. He's a really nice guy. It's a wonder how I never met him despite sharing a single class with him. Oh well. You entered your bedroom, letting out a big yawn as you stretched your body. You turned to your laundry slowly piling up and scratched your head. We'll probably do laundry tomorrow, but for now. You plopped yourself on the soft cushions of your bed, getting into a comfortable position and slowly dozing off as you closed your eyes, embracing sleep as the night goes. More. Please, Lion. Fuck. I made another mess. And yet, these still smell like you. It seems like my luck is finally turning around for the better. I can't wait to see you tomorrow, Lion. My one and only soulmate. End of day 1. Okay, so that was the same ending as we got in our first playthrough, but we did get another photo. So let's go back and see what else we can find. Okay, so we're gonna go to the rooftop this time. A tick of irritation formed on your forehead before huffing out the anger. Actually, I was feeling somewhere else today, so no thanks. You and your group can go ahead. Brittany raised an eyebrow before shrugging her shoulders. Suit yourself then. She snapped her fingers before turning around and heading out with the rest of her friends. In all honesty, you have no idea where to go despite the school being very notorious and had so many facilities. You were thankful you got accepted here in the first place through your scholarship. But making friends in this forsaken school is on a whole new level. You sighed and looked out through the classroom's windows at the darkening sky. Maybe the smell and sound of the incoming rain might help ease the burning feeling within you. With a goal in mind, you went to the rooftop. The rooftop is off limits, but they don't often bother to even lock it up, much less barricade it. Once you got in, you took a seat on the pavement under a small shade as droplets of rain slowly descend down from the sky. Just then, you heard footsteps to your right. A few mutters of words were heard. Curiosity nagged you. You went to the corner where the sound came from, and there stood what seemed to be a student with bluish-green hair. They were in a call, their steps in a cycle going back and forth, as he talks to whoever he is talking to behind his flip phone. His other hand grips his hair, clearly irritated to whoever he is talking to. He flipped his flip phone closed and lets out a sigh. Suddenly, his body froze. The drastic change in his demeanor sent chills down your spine. I can see you, you know. Show yourself. Well, I guess this is a save point. Let's find out who this is. You slowly inched forward, showing yourself to the strange student. The more you look at his face, the more he seemed familiar, and judging from his facial expression, he was thinking the same thing. How much did you hear? I only heard you curse and nothing else. You answered with honesty. He raised a brow, trying to look at your face, see if you're telling the truth. He sighed and shook his head. Either way, it's rude to eavesdrop on someone's conversation. I told you I just got here. You bury your eyebrows. He just chuckled, acting as if it's just a silly teasing. You seem familiar. Let me remember. He closed his eyes, his hand on his chin doing a thinking motion like those cartoon detectives in TV shows. TheLionofLegend from art class, correct? Is this another save point? The student smiled in glee. That's great. That means you'd be willing to help me with something. Wait, what? I'm Hyugo, by the way. You see, I won't be able to make it to the next class, and I kinda promised my partner for the class that I'll be there. Hyugo chuckled, a sweat drop forming on his cheek. You gave him a look. Seriously? But I'll make it up to you, I promise. I'm quite close to the student council and happen to know a few connections. I might be able to refer you if you'd like. He says with a wink and a nudge, wanting you to take the offer. That does seem like a good offer. Can help lessen your expenses and have a higher discount on your scholarship. And judging from his looks, it doesn't seem like you have a choice. With a sigh, you accepted his offer. Hyugo gave you a pat on the back as if you guys have been old friends before escorting you out of the rooftop with him in tow. The school bell rings, indicating the start of the next class. So, okay, I think this is gonna let me this is definitely when I meet. I'm gonna save just to be safe, but this is definitely when I'm gonna meet Soul, so I'm gonna skip this dialogue since this will be the third time I read it if I do this. Okay, so now the dialogue is different. You sigh as you try to look around whoever this Soul person the guy from the rooftop was talking about until it hits you. I don't even know what this Soul guy looks like. You groaned and took your seat by the window. Maybe you'll find out once your professor starts his class. And I'm just going to continue skipping. If the skip option comes up to the right here, I'm just going to keep doing that so I'm not reading the same thing over and over again. Luckily, you're not the only one. You looked around, trying to spot someone who doesn't have a partner yet, since the guy from the rooftop clearly said they were supposed to be partners. Just your lucky day, you guessed. Okay, so now we're about to actually meet Soul, because we need a partner. And what is this patch on your face, Soul? What happened? Okay, well, we'll be nice. Alright, let's go ahead. And I'll say that I'm not good at art. I'm still quite a beginner. You got nothing to worry about. My usual partner isn't much of an artist either. Your usual partner? Oh yeah, I already had an assigned partner for this class. But he last minute ditched me for some important family business. He never tells me though. And I'm not the type to pry either. Does your friend go by the name Hyugo, perhaps? Yeah, how did you know? I met him during lunch. He was at the rooftop. Typical of him. Sorry you got dragged into his mess of taking his place. You shook your head, telling him that you don't mind one bit. He then keeps talking, as if he's scolding the green-haired lad back in the rooftop like a little brother. It was actually cute. You slowly took out your sketchpad and started drawing Soul's different expressions as he talks. Would you believe me if I tell you that guy is one of the top students in the entire class, yet is always missing in action? Really now, he doesn't seem to be that type of guy. Which part? Being a top student or always missing in action? Soul's brow raised, and you shrugged as you kept on sketching his face. Soul, however, caught up to what you were doing, and stood up from his seat and tried to pry your sketchpad out of your hands. Were you drawing me this entire time? No? Liar. I thought I was supposed to be the one drawing you, not the other way around. He sat back on his seat and crossed his arms. His eyes narrowed while he bit his lower lip. Oh, come on. It's not that big of a deal, Soul. Plus, you look really cute. Soul's cheeks turned red, and eyes popped wide open from your comment and looked away. The grip on his arm tightened as he wrinkled his long sleeves. You said something? Nothing. You tilted your head to the side. You sure mumble a lot. It's a habit. I'm not used to talking a lot. Keep talking about your friend Hyugo. You seem to be so fond of him regardless. Soul sighed and rubbed his nape, his expression relaxing a bit. I owe him a lot, that's all. Enough about Hyugo, though. Let's continue on with our task. Alright. And I'm drawing, and that's final. Did he just cut me off again? Whatever. You pouted. Alright, Grumpy. As you drew, you couldn't help but stare at his face, and the bandage on his cheek, and judging from how much it's covering half of his face, it's quite a large bruise. You, fall down the stairs or something? What makes you say that? He asked. You pointed at his wound on his cheek with your pencil. Well, you can say that. Nothing for you to worry about, though. You weren't sure if you wanted to pry more into the conversation, much less want to know exactly what happened, because from the way he talks, it doesn't seem like he fell. But that's a story for another day. I hope it gets better soon. Thanks. Soul managed to sketch up your portrait, but was caught up with the bell eventually, not able to finish on time. He tried to pry off your sketchboard from your hands again, however, trying to get rid of the doodles you made of him during his little rants about his friend. But you chucked your sketch bag in your bag before he could get his hands on it. Soul eventually gave up and started packing as well. You and him went to the exit door of the classroom and continued on in the hallway. Okay, so this is when they exchange contact info. Okay, whoa. Oh shit. Oh god. I didn't think it was going to just go all the way through the same ending, so now I'm going to have to, when I edit this, I'm going to have to slow it down so I can cover Soul's meat with censorship. Oh man. And we didn't even get any more artwork. Okay. Let's see. So, we've got a couple of options here. So we can go back to the rooftop. Wait, I don't want to do that. I'm going to go here. I'm going to hide this time. You kept hiding, refraining from leaving your hidden spot. Hiding spot. Who knows what this guy is capable of? Plus, it's kind of suspicious why he's here at the school's rooftop out of all the places to be. Usually people go up to the rooftop if they don't want something exposed. The student just sighed and scratched his head. I'm not going to hurt you, you know, he said as he turned around. Your eyes widened when his gaze met yours despite being hidden. What the fuck? Seeing no use in hiding any longer, you went out of your spot but with an alerted stance. He just chuckled. You seem familiar. Let me remember. Ah, Lion from art class, correct? He said with a snap of his fingers, kind of like seeing those detective cartoons you see on TV when they figured out a clue. So, interesting. So, let's lie. Nah, I think you got the wrong lion there. You lied. The person before you just blinked at you, twice, in disbelief, scratching his cheek in confusion. For real? I could have sworn you're the same person. His voice lowered before waving it away. Either way, I'm Hyugo, and I need your help with something. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead. Okay, so we're in a similar scenario. Let's see. Your name contradicts the glam. Same dialogue. Let's say, oh, I can skip here. It's okay. Pretty great at art. Different dialogue. If you would give me the honors to draw you. Go ahead. At least I could count on you. This is, of course, after he's, ranting about Hyugo. Was your friend any good at art as well? Friend? Oh yeah. I already had a partner assigned for this class. Okay, so now he's ranting about Hyugo. Yeah, let's go ahead. Oh my goodness. Okay. So we're gonna go back to the library, as we are here, and let's find somewhere else to sit. You don't want to deal with strangers or anyone at all at this very moment. Even if you want to be at your spot at this very moment. Looking around, you decided to find a different seat. Sadly, the available ones you were able to see is the one next to the loud gossiping students. You swear out of all the places to be, they have to be in the library. You decide to grab a book to avert your attention to something else. You don't feel like doing your research paper. You went to the fiction section. Tall bookshelves come in your view. Your fingers brushed along the spines of the books, some old, some new. Thud. A thud caused the shelf to wobble a bit, nearly knocking a few books down. You clicked your tongue and tried to take a peek through the bookshelves to see what's causing it. Well, look at what we have here. It's Creep McGee. What's wrong? Cat got your tongue? Great. Another bullying situation. You sigh. Sometimes people never grew up out of their high school phase. The poor teen didn't say anything as they were pinned onto the bookshelf, explaining the few shakes. Just then, the teen muttered something under his breath. What did you say? Speak up, freak. I said, fuck off. Why, you little... Thud. You winced, the redhead landing a blow on the boy before your eyes caught something glistening from the raven-haired bully's pocket. A pocket knife. How the fuck did he get in with that? Let's see if you'll continue being a smartass once I cut your mouth. Oh wow. Okay, we have decisions. I'm going to overwrite here. Let's hop in there. I've got to stop them. You rushed out as quickly as you can across to where the bullies are. Stop! From the sound of your voice, the bullies halt in their movement and turn to face where you are. You looked at the teen clearly knocked down on the floor, a few books on his side. Your eyes met with his piercing reddish ones. His eyes narrowed as he turns at your sudden appearance. If you hurt him, I'll scream and alert everyone in the library. By your threat, the bullies clicked their tongues before roughly kicking the teen on the floor and leaving, the raven-haired one shoving your shoulder on their way. You rubbed the area where the bully shoved you before turning your attention back to the teen on the floor. He looks pretty beaten up, a purple bruise forming over his left cheek. You went towards him and kneeled down, offering your hand. He said nothing, however, looked at your outreached hand, hesitating for a while before gripping your wrist and helping him stand up. Now that he's standing at full height, he's actually pretty tall, probably around 6 feet. His red eyes then going back and forth around the area, back to you, and on a random corner. We should probably get you to the nurse's office. I'm fine. No need. And with that, he left as quickly as he can. You trailed after him, seeing him packed up his things from what seems to be your usual spot before exiting the library. Well, at least my usual spot is open now, but I wonder if they're actually feeling alright. Alright, so now we're back in class. From the corner of your eye, you notice something, or rather, someone. It's the guy from the library. He's in the same class as me? Why haven't I noticed him before? When his eyes met yours, they widened a bit before turning away. His focus now on the book in his hand, a slight tint of red on his pale cheeks. Maybe this is my chance to get to know him. Alright, we'll skip ahead. So, we'll do the first one. Can I skip? We can skip. We'll say that we are not that good at art. I am still honing my skills in art. I hope that's alright with you. Everyone starts somewhere. As long as you appreciate the work of art, you'll do fine. How about you? Maybe you should do my portrait first. Well, if you insist. Soul said, relaxing on his seat and taking out his sketchpad and pencil. You sit back and relax as well, tucking a loose strand and fixing your hair as if you're about to take a picture. Soul notices this, and you swear you saw the edges of his lips twitched upward. The sound of pencil against paper filled the classroom. You on your seat, as Soul looks up at you and back on the paper from time to time. Whenever he gazes at you, you swear his eyes go half-lidded, as if in a dreamy daze. But you didn't think much about it. Thank you. What was that? Soul stopped his strokes on the paper and finally locked gaze with you. His sketchpad covers half of his face as he speaks. Thank you, Lion, for helping me back in the library. Oh, it's not a problem. You were in quite a pickle, and no one bothered to help you out. I don't know what I'd do if I didn't save you back there. Well, you saved me the trouble today. After that, Soul said nothing as he looks at you before continuing on. You swear a small tint of pink appeared on his ears as he keeps hiding half of his face behind the sketchpad. Small conversations were made then and there as he worked while you kept the air afloat. Sorry I wasn't able to make it in time to not get you injured. You started, and Soul's eyes just widened at you before shaking his head. Don't worry about it. This type of thing is pretty usual for me. The usual for you? He sighed, as if the thought alone is such a huge task on his hands while he continues on. I'd get in trouble either way, so what's the point? Soul then mumbled something under his breath, the grip on the pencil tightening in his grip before sighing and looking up at you. And that was enough to calm him down, and continued on with his sketch, leaving you dumbfounded. Before you knew it, class was over. Soul, however, is not done with his portrait of you, as his pencil still makes a few more final touches on his sketchpad. Just a few more touches. There. Can I see? Of course. Soul hands his sketches to you, and you gasped. This looks good? The details and everything. And he's not even done yet. Soul, this looks amazing. How the fuck did you do this? By your compliment. He just rubbed the back of his neck and shrugged a little, a bit embarrassed at your compliment. I'd love to sketch once in a while. I'd often draw random people in parks when I go out. You couldn't help but admire him and his work. Can I keep this? I mean, right after our professor grades it, of course. Soul places a hand under his chin, thinking about it. Not sure. I think I could do better than that one. But I really like this one. He just chuckled. Alright. You can have it once I'm done, and our professor grades it. But in return, I get to keep the portrait you'll make of me, alright? I think that's a fair deal. Soul agreed and you cheered. You gave back his sketchpad and fixed up your things. Soul packed up as well as you both headed out the hallway. Alright, so is this going to take me to the end? Yes. Okay. So, we're getting some idea of what's going on. I had a feeling that Soul was being bullied. It seems like that is the case. What's interesting is, when you go to meet Hyugo, he has the patch on his cheek, but he doesn't have the cut on his hand, which I figured had to be from the knife. But you stepping in to stop the bullies definitely, I imagine, saved him from getting cut. Maybe I'm wrong. So now we're going to get out of there. We're just going to, that's none of our business, right? You didn't want to be involved in this any longer. Who knows what... You're not even involved. You're just a bystander. You didn't want to be involved in this any longer. Who knows, you might be their next victim if you stay there for long. Fuck the book. You can come back and read some other time. You turned and quickly left. The smell of iron invaded your nose. Yeah, see, this is when Soul got cut by the knife, I'm sure. You shook your head and sped walked to your table. Fuck, you little shit. You'll pay for that. What's all that noise? Just in time. From the corner of your eye, you spotted the librarian going to where the bullies were, and a gasp was heard from her lips. 2 of you, to the principal's office. And as for you, Mr. Brugmansia, you stay put as I call for the nurse. You can't help but tune in. More like the librarian's voice was a bit too loud, so it reaches your ears. As you pack up your stuff, preparing to leave the library. You turned your head, and it was at that moment that you wished you didn't. There stood a tall boy in black, his eyes red and dull, with dark eye bags under it. His face is swollen, a purple bruise on his left cheek. But what made your heart stop along with your breathing is the blood on his left hand, a large gash on it. You were too busy staring at his wound that you didn't see him look your way. His gaze started to burn. You looked away, shoving the remaining notes in your bag, zipping it closed, and sprinted out. Fuck the library. I'll just wait back in the classroom for my next class. Okay, back in class. You looked around the classroom before your eyes landed on something, or rather, someone familiar. Piercing red ones burning through you. You averted your eyes from his gaze, sweat accumulating from your temple. Shit, it's the guy from the library. I didn't know he's in the same art class as me. Without as much sparing him a glance, you quickly took your seat by the window and tried to focus on your professor. Okay, so we're meeting up again. So we're pretty great at art. Really now? I guess I'm lucky to be partnered with a very skilled person. Can I ask a favor, though? You nodded, signaling for him to go on. Just don't stare too much on my face. I get embarrassed, especially with this bruise on my face. Oh, sorry. Don't worry about it. I would love to draw you if it weren't for my only working hand being injured right now. He sighed. You bit your lower lip as you took your sketchpad and pencil, ready to sketch him as he laid back on his chair and relaxed his posture. You can't help but look at the bandage on his face, the purple bruise not fully covering the entire wound. The purple bruise not fully covering the entire wound. Okay. Your eyes then trailed to his wrapped hand, blood seeping out of it. Your stomach doesn't feel good. Actually, you don't feel good at all. And Soul noticed your change in demeanor, and the fact you haven't moved an inch on your sketchpad told him something's wrong. Hey, you okay? If you're worried about my face, don't mind it. It's nothing to be worried about. But Sol remained quiet, not sure on what to do. The best thing he did is pulling his sleeve, trying his best to hide his bandaged hand. There, all better? Lion? You felt his fingers under your chin. Next thing you know, you're face to face with Sol. His eyes filled with sorry, and his brows were furrowed in worry. At the sudden intimacy, your heartbeat quickened and you pulled away. Sorry. It's alright. You didn't mean to stare. No, I mean, for leaving you there when you actually needed help. Sol raised a brow as he backed away. You were there? Back in the library. I should have helped you if I knew you were going to get badly injured. I'm such a coward. You gripped the pencil, guilt filling through your bones on what you could have easily avoided and maybe helped out. Hey, it's all right. There was nothing else you could do during that time. Who would bother to help me anyway? Say, why don't you make it up to me by finishing that portrait? Sol tells you with a small smile, trying his best to change the subject and to cheer you up. You said nothing, however, but started slow with the sketch, the guilt still eating you from the inside. The bell rang. Sadly, you weren't done with his portrait yet, quite not sure of how it turned out. Can I see it? I'm not done yet, though. Is that so? Well, I haven't even got started with yours. Can you wait until I finish it? I promise I won't take long. Take as much time as you need, Lion. You and Sol then packed up. You hurriedly shoved everything in your bag, wanting to leave the room as soon as possible. You rushed out, catching Sol by surprise. He quickly fixed his things as well and tried to catch up to you on the hallway. Oh wow, this is different. You went out as quickly as you could, but Sol was hot on your tail. He eventually caught up to you and grabbed your wrist with his good hand, stopping you in your tracks. Eyes still refused to look at him. Sol sighed and rubbed the back of his head. Hey. You didn't say anything. Sol realized what he did and lets go of your wrist, mumbling a soft, sorry, under his breath, and shoving his hands in his pockets as he bit his lower lip. A slight tint of red invading his ears, but still determined to talk to you. We should try to finish our assignment when we can, so I need to have some way to contact you. You turned to look at him and thought about it before pulling out your phone. And this is just for the sole purpose of the project. Hey, I'd like for us to be friends. After what you did to him back in the library? The apparent shock on your face was enough for him to know exactly what you were thinking about, and tilted his head to the side, his eyes furrowed, and a small smile on his face. Stop thinking about what happened in the library. I forgive you. In fact, I wouldn't forgive myself if you were in the same position. What was that? I would like for us to be friends, Lion. You just said that. But why? His eyes ever so softened. Why not? A soft smile on his face, trying to calm you down, telling you that everything is all right. The tightness in your chest slowly fading away the more you look at him, reassuring you that you did nothing wrong. Okay, so now we're going to be friends. My assumption is maybe Sol is going to beat his meat to the thought of us, or me, yet again. There it is. This video is going to have a lot of boxes. So, we can go back to the beginning. And we can go with the crew. And we're going to have a packed lunch. I packed my own lunch. Brittany just shrugged. Alright then, let's go, Jess. She went to line up with the rest of the students, the girl with glasses following up behind her. You really need to recall who are the friends you hang out with again. The girl with glasses, as you recalled, when Brittany mentioned her name, was Jess. She's a big nerd and has a fondness for this idol named, what was his name? Eros, Aries, whatever. You honestly don't care. She's really quiet and attached to the hip towards Brittany, like a dog. It's pathetic. I'll go line up as well. You'll be fine with those two? Crowe asked you with concern laced in his tone. You face the two other boys. One clearly talking the other male's ear off, while the other doesn't really give a damn, seeming to look around the cafeteria as if searching for something. You nod your head to Crowe, and he gave you a pat on the head, a blush making its way to your cheeks before he went along with Brittany and Jess. You then head off to where the two guys are at, them already seated on a table while bringing out their own packed lunch. Your food always looks so good, Gio. I bet they taste great. No. The guy named Gio said as he slapped the jock's hand away from his bento box. The jock pouted, rubbing his hand before taking out his own packed lunch. As you sat down across from the two boys, Gio kept his lunch on you for quite a while, not breaking his gaze as he chews on his lunch. A shiver went down your spine. The jock beside him somehow just remembered your presence on the table and turned his head towards you. Oh, right. Lion, right? What did you bring for lunch? I mean, if you don't mind sharing, that is. Both on what it is and if you don't mind sharing it to me. Unlike this guy beside me. Gio rolled his eyes when the jock nudged his shoulder, letting out an irritated groan. Don't bother with Daryl. He'll take your food either way, even if you did give him some. Hey now. While the two bicker on, you just gave a small chuckle and ate your packed lunch. In the corner of your eye, you noticed Brittany, Jess, and Crowe with their lunch trays in hand, heading towards where you three are seated at. Okay, so this is when the food fight happens. Okay, now we're back with Soul. And I'll say that I'm pretty great at art. Oh, then surprise me. Sorry, I can't draw you because of this damned injury. No, don't worry about it. You're excused, and I don't want you to stress your hand over this. You took out your sketch pad and your pencil and worked with his portrait with determination, his eyes never leaving your face. You would often look up at his features, taking note every curve, a blush occasionally invading his cheeks as he tries his best not to look away while you worked. While you were sketching up, you can't help but avert your eyes on his bandaged hand from time to time. Okay, so now we're going to, now we're back at the end. Where are these photos? Would you like me to draw you first? I mean, I don't mind. I'm quite confident in my skill of art, you said with a smile on your face. Soul thought for a bit. The offer was quite tempting, but then he remembers the bandage on his face. He shook his head as he took out his own sketchpad and pencil. No, it's all right. I'd rather draw you for now. You sure? Yes. Why so? Because you're prettier. I mean, I look like crap. And... Whoa, slow down. What were you saying? That I'm pretty? Yes. Can I just draw you? I just don't like how I look with this bandage on my face, that's all. God, I feel like I'm about to explode. You just gave a small chuckle before letting him do the honors and draw you instead. You sat up straight and fixed your hair as Soul started on his sketch. A red covered his cheeks up to his ears, as he tries his best to hide his blushing face behind his sketchpad. Okay, so now he's drawing us. I actually don't think that I asked Soul to move away from my seat, so we're gonna do that. That's your seat, and no one else is going to take it away from you in your comfort. You puffed out your chest and went towards the person where your rightful spot should be. He was reading a book, way too focused on it. He didn't notice your presence for a while. You faked a cough. This seems to catch his attention. You're in my seat. Can I have it back? He looks up from the book he's reading, and you're met with his piercing reddish eyes. Eye bags right under it, as if he has never gotten a wink of sleep for a week. You twiddled your thumbs, your heart thumping from your chest as you returned his gaze, ending in some sort of stare down. He raised a brow before looking around, under the table, on the seat, heck, even under his book before turning back to you. I don't see your name anywhere. A vein tightened. Oh, so he's trying to be a smartass, huh? Your cheeks puffed, and he just gave a small chuckle before closing his book and placed it down on the table. I'll give you your seat back, but what can you offer in exchange? Okay, this is probably good stuff. Coffee. How about coffee? You sure look like you need one at the moment. He chuckled. Alright, coffee it is then. He then went back to reading his book and waving you off, awaiting for his drink. You sigh as you went near the library's cafe counter. Next in line, please. However, as you faced the cashier before you, you cursed under your breath. I forgot to ask what kind of coffee he likes. Fuck it. Whatever, I guess. Facing the cashier again, you decided on... Oh shit. Got a couple options here. We'll save over you. And I'm gonna go back and we'll just give him a mocha. I'll grab a mocha. Of course, one mocha coming right up. Once your order was called up, you grabbed the drink of your choice, thanking the barista, and went back to the seat where the guy was, careful not to accidentally spill the contents of the drink and avoiding passing students. There, you can see him still reading the book before looking up, once he smelled the sweet aroma of coffee beans coming his way. Once you were beside him, you carefully placed down the cup beside him. He took it and held it to his face. He took a small sip from the cup before humming in approval, taking a few more sips from it. He seems to like it. Well, there's your coffee. So are you moving aside or no? He looked up, thinking hard on your words. Alright, but I'm kinda liking this spot too. You just have to deal with me sitting beside you. You nod, and he moved to the seat right next to your now reserved spot. You took your seat, a smile on your face from your mini victory. He just rolled his eyes playfully before continuing on his book. You set yourself down and started with your report for your literature class. Time passed by, and lunch was nearing its end. You huffed out and double-checked the work you've done so far on your laptop. I think that should do it. Satisfied, you started to pack up your things. While doing so, your seatmate started packing up his things as well, noticing his cup of coffee now empty. He then got out of his seat and walked away, not minding your presence as he exits. You hesitated for a short moment before calling out to him before he could reach the doors. Hey. He stopped in his tracks and turned around to look at you, a brow raised. What's your next class? Clearly not expecting you to ask, much less talk to him again, he paused before replying. Art class. Wait, for real? With Mr. Spring? He nodded. How come you've never seen this guy throughout the semester? Sensing your confusion, he just scratched the back of his head. I don't really care if you've never seen me before. I barely go in class or make myself known either way. He sighed, irritation at the back of his throat at the idea. He probably got a warning to attend the class or he drops. You shook your head. But still. Would you like to go to the next class with me? Huh? Where did he go? I guess he went ahead. You shrugged, heading out of the library and onto your next class, expecting the green-streaked-haired male to be there. Okay, so now we're back in class, so we'll just... You looked around the classroom, trying to look for the familiar boy. And there. You see him, the guy from the library. He's situated at the very back of the classroom. He seems to be preoccupied with the same red book he's been reading back in the library, but on his hand now is a pencil he seems to be scribbling on. You went to your seat by the window, minding your own business as you focused on your professor. At least he wasn't lying about him in the same class as me. Alright, we'll go ahead. And we'll go ahead. And we'll go ahead. Okay. We'll argue for our seat. I have no time for your games. Just leave me and let me have my seat that you stole. Jesus. Oh, God. However, he just stared at you. A second passed, before returning his attention back to his book. If you really want to sit here, then make me. Either way, I'm already comfortable here, so I'm not leaving. The guy is getting on your nerves. Okay. If he doesn't want to leave, then so be it. Without thinking, you move to him before plopping yourself down on his lap. This clearly caught him by surprise, for he lets out a sharp gasp, his eyes wide, gripping the book he nearly threw away. You look behind him with a cocky smirk before setting down your things on the table and went on to do your literature report. He hasn't said anything for a full minute, his body stiff. Did he stop breathing too? Relax, will ya? You're making it uncomfortable for me, and it's hard to concentrate. The breath that he was holding was finally let out. He grumbled under his breath and placed his arms beside yours as he watched you go on with your work. Edgar Allan Poe? Yeah? What about it? What a coincidence. My report is about him too, but not on a dream within a dream. What made you choose this poem out of everything else he's written? That was a genuine question from him, eyeing you with curiosity. I just think it's interesting. The way he writes is unlike any other writer out there. Plus, I think this poem talks about being uncertain about something, like about life, or about someone's feelings. You trailed off. The ache in your heart suddenly burns within your body. He seems to notice your change in demeanor before opening his mouth. I think that's a good topic to make a report on. Your eyes met his, a smile on his face. A chuckle left your lips at his response. Thanks. I'll do my best on it. He realized he was staring for quite a while before looking away, a small red tint invading his cheeks, avoiding your gaze. You smiled and went on with your report on his lap, him finally relaxing underneath you. How about you? What's the poem you picked from the great Mr. Poe himself? The guy looked up as if thinking before turning to look at you. Have you read Annabel Lee? If my memory serves me right, is it a poem about their love for this woman named Annabel Lee? That poem, not gonna lie, has a lot of deep meaning and symbolism to it. Anyone can have multiple interpretations to it. But the main concept, at least in my opinion, is that the speaker loves Annabel to the point of death, and even after death. Yeah, pretty much. And I honestly think it's beautiful. Love? Death. His body laxed, mine somewhere else. But the small smile and the light in his eyes are apparent before his smile turned into a frown. But people refuse to let them be together, as if fate refuses them to die together. What was that? What? Oh, don't mind me. But yeah, that's what my report's about. Sorry, I kind of started rambling on. No, I don't mind. Thanks for sharing. I honestly think it's quite interesting. Also, I didn't think you'd be the type of person to be into romance. What is that supposed to mean? Nothing. Some time passed, and there was only a few more minutes left before the bell rings. You packed up your things and stood up from your seat, almost forgetting you made someone sort of a cushion. Hey, sorry for sitting on you like that. That was kind of rude of me. Wait, I'm sitting on him? Okay. No, it's alright. What was that? Nothing. Your next class is art, right? How did you know? It's my next subject. Who knows? Maybe we're classmates, or just have different teachers. He lets out a sigh, seemingly disappointed at the realization. He packed up his things before heading towards the exit. You followed him on the way out. Just then, you heard someone calling out your name. You faced to your left and saw no other than Crowe, Brittany, and the rest of her group of friends. I see that you did spend your time in the library. I did. How was lunch? Brittany's eyes narrowed. You didn't understand why, but the moment your eyes went to her ruined uniform, you kind of guessed what happened. That has got to be one of the best food fights I have ever been in. The jock behind her exclaimed. He seemed to be unstained, save for a few spaghetti sauce in his jersey, but that didn't seem to bother him. Darely, you better shut your fucking mouth before I would do the honors for you. Was that a typo? Darely? Daryl? Now, Brittany. Let's just go to the changing room and ask for the principal for an extra uniform, alright? The girl with glasses cuts off Brittany, calming her down in the process. You're right. Let's go, Jess. Can't believe I have to be late on my next class because of this bullshit. Daryl said nothing, but hid behind the tall, stoic male as both Jess and Brittany left. Sometimes I forget how scary she is. Don't you agree, Gio? Get off of me. Sometimes you wondered how the group are even friends, but then again, people don't usually approach your friend group. You often wonder. But then again, it's none of your business to pry. Ignore them. So, back to you, Lion. Oh, right. I actually had to fight someone for my favorite spot in the library. Talk about a pain in the ass. Crowe just chuckled, his eyes telling you to go on. He shouldn't have gotten too far. He just let... You turned around, expecting the green-haired streak male to be there, but to your surprise, he was already gone. He's fast. How curious. Do you happen to know who they are? No. I never got to ask what his name is. Well, you better get off to your next class. We only have a few minutes left before the bell rings. I'll see you soon, Lion. You waved him goodbye, Crowe going forward with Daryl and Gio behind. You scratched your head before heading towards the other direction, and on to your next class as the bell rings, echoing through the hallway. You looked around the classroom, trying to look for a familiar boy. There. He's situated at the very back of the classroom. Judging from his look, he's been staring at you for a while. You gave him a small smile and a wave. He smiled back with a smile wave of his own. A small wave of his own. You went to his seat by the window, turning around to face him one more time. His eyes still fixated on you, a hand on his cheek while admiring you. Heat raised up to your cheeks from the somewhat dreamy look on his face. You turned your head back to the front, focusing on whatever your professor is talking about. He sits at the back. No wonder I don't notice him. Okay, so... This must be when we get to the end. Let's do coffee. And we're going to skip ahead, and let's get a latte. I'll grab a latte, please. Sure thing. Will that be all? Yes, please. Got you. One latte coming right up. Once your order was called up, you grabbed the drink of your choice, thanking the barista, and went back to the seat where the guy was, careful not to accidentally spill the contents of the drinks, and avoiding passing students. Drinks, plural, singular, you know. Okay, so we've got some skipping here, and here we are. He took a deep inhale before sipping from the cup. A smile forming on his face, his eyes having a slight sparkle in them, before closing his eyes and taking another sip. That seems to be his favorite. Nice guess, Lion. Well, there's your coffee. Oh, I can skip. Alright. So now we're probably getting back to the ending. Yeah. Okay. Coffee. Black. Black, please. Going for something strong for today? I won't judge. I like black too, especially to keep me awake. More like it's just a random guess. You gave the cashier the money while the barista behind her prepares your drink. Once your order was called up, you grabbed the drink of your choice, thanking the barista, and went back to the seat where the guy was, careful to not accidentally spill the contents of the drink and avoiding passing students. This was the same dialogue, but I said drink and not drinks this time. He took small sips from it, not saying anything, his eyes still glued to his book. So, no comment, huh? Well, there's your coffee. So are you moving aside or no? And I can skip this. Which is going to bring us back to class. Which is going to bring new dialogue. Huh. Everyone starts somewhere. Would you like me to draw you first then? If it's not a problem. Not at all. With that, Soul takes out his own sketchbook and pencil, sitting upright and facing you. You straightened up your back, sitting properly as if you're about to take an ID picture. Is this okay? Just relax your shoulders. You'll be fine. Just be natural. Oh, okay. Your breathing stopped. Soul leaned in, his face a few inches near your face, almost feeling his minty breath. He raised his hand and brushed a strand of your hair away from your face and tucked it behind your ear. There, I was in the way. You were sure you were bright as a cherry by now. You didn't say anything else as Soul begins a sketch, his eyes hopping from the paper to your face, and you swear every time you meet his gaze your heartbeat quickens. Be still, my beating heart. And you dealt with that for the rest of the class. Before you knew it, the class ended. Everyone was packing their things. Soul, sadly, isn't done with your portrait, which you were dying to see, but he said he's going to keep it a secret until he finishes it. You better not make me look funny. What makes you think of that? Why, you... I'm kidding. His hand then tried to reach out to your face, as if wanting to cup your cheek. But he stopped midway. You're so pretty. Did you say something, Soul? Nothing. I still don't have another picture for the album. Oh man, this is taking a pretty long time. Okay, so... something intimate. What? You want a hug or something? He raised a brow at you, a slight tilt to his head, wondering what you were trying to imply. Now that I have a good look at him, he actually looks kind of cute. Now, wait, what am I saying? Shaking your head, ignoring your cheeks heating up, you patted your temples, trying to get rid of the thoughts. Minding you no more, the guy returned his attention to the book in his hands. A groan escaped your mouth. With a pout, you set your things down and sat on the chair next to him. And we can skip this dialogue, and okay. Well, surprisingly, we didn't get very far with the intimacy. What do I do? I don't think we did this option. Oh, I apologize for even suggesting. Shit. Did you accidentally say that out loud? He saw your slight distress, but his face says not to worry about it. How typical of him, being nice just for me. You feel bad now. Great. Okay. Look, everyone, I have torn this game piece by piece, I feel like, and this is all the artwork that I can find, unless there's, oh my goodness, okay. I'm gonna have to censor that again. I didn't mean to do that. Well, I clicked one, so I might as well click the rest, right? So, I'm not sure if I'm just missing something, or if the rest of these images won't become available until the full game releases, which I suppose is possible, right? So, yeah, I think that's all I got, but please feel free to let me know in the comments if I missed something, and perhaps I will come back and check it out. But, that all being said, if you like this, I would definitely appreciate a like, comment, subscribe, share the video out. I will gladly keep an eye out for this game in the future so I can go through the full thing. The only thing that kind of threw me off a little bit was I feel like there were some grammatical mistakes, and it kind of messed up my reading every now and then. But perhaps that will be, fixed up in the full game. So yeah, keep a lookout for that. I'll keep a link in the description where you guys can follow the dev, and play the game yourself if you would like. I just hit my microphone. Don't mind that. Do not mind that. And until next time, y'all have a great night.